anytime I've been going live lately, I'm just like, we're doing this. It's within like 2 seconds of deciding that I'm going live that I'm like, I'm going live. I actually think that's a really good tip for your intuition. Like, I've actually been following through more on that, specifically when you're like, you should reach out to this person, just like doing it, especially if it's a friend that you have from the past that you haven't interacted with and something you find funny. You're like, this person would really appreciate this. It just kind of weaves more joy into your life. Hello, Allison Ziggy here. I'm so grateful, happy, excited in New York. I'm kind of chill. I realized I hadn't gone live and hadn't storied, and there had been so much that has happened since being in New York. So I just wanted to come on here and share a few things, because I'm literally writing pages of my book as I go live, which is probably what made me go to live. Is it's like, oh, I'd rather procrastinate my book than like not post on social media. Oh my gosh, the lives we live as creatives, am I right? So I was just writing my book, and I was reading something where I'm like, oh my gosh, I want this to be the end of my book. Like, I was reading and I was just writing, and then something about it, just, I wanted to come on and talk about the experience that I had this past week where I read my work aloud for the first time ever in Brooklyn in person. And it was just the most incredible experience where I printed out my words. I talked about this guy that I had dated, and it was amazing. Like, it just felt like I was, not like there was meaning behind the relationship and the purpose that finally fulfilled itself. Like, I had long since healed the experience, but it just felt like being on that stage and reading my words and sharing my work. I felt so aligned with who I had been meant to be. It felt like the first time that I broke through and felt something that I hadn't felt in a long time professionally, like in my career, like just reading and the writing. And I think sometimes whenever you have a creative dream and you've been working towards it for a long time, it can get really disheartening, or it can be easy to like push it to the side. Like, even when I was talking to my friends, they were like, yeah, like, you're a writer. And I think that I haven't allowed myself to like just be that. Like, I've wanted to do all these facets of other things, and I've incorporated so much into everything that I do. I find it really, like, just as an artist, I'm always working on things. Like, I'm working on my planners, I'm always working on my writing, I'm always sharing my experiences, and I have my coaching clients and things like this. But just something about this experience that I've had in New York has been so next level breaking through, and it's broken me through a new level where I literally almost canceled my trip. Like, I was at a point where I was like asking myself, like, should I just stay at my mom's house, cancel all of this? Will it just be better to be chill? Like, I have a birthday coming up. I'm like, should I just cancel everything? Like, my nervous system, code word for like the way that my body felt, was just so like, and the way that I saw myself, it was like my ego was so threatened by all these changes and like actually showing up like this, that it felt the more logical to just not do any of it. And even like the day of the speaking event, I was so disassociated. And I know these things, like, I know them, but it was like I didn't even edit what I was reading until 4 p.m. the day that I was reading, and the event was at 7. And it was one of those things where people ask sometimes, like, how much time did you put in beforehand? And it's like, I've been working towards this my entire life versus working towards this in the moment. And I've hosted so many live events that I didn't feel nervous about being on the stage. But by the time that I did this event and I got up there, it was like I was so overripe. Like, it was like I couldn't believe I hadn't done something like this before, because of how natural and how like effortless it came, and how it was like, this is me actively living out my purpose and doing what I'm meant to be doing. And it's interesting because even like writing my book, I've been writing my first book for the last 7 years. And I don't want to discredit myself. Like, the time actually spent writing is not what takes a long time. It's like the resistance to working on the things that we know we want to do. But that is what makes life worthwhile and meaningful. And especially with writing, especially if you're someone who also processes through writing. Yesterday, I was meditating, and we're going to do a meditation like after this. That's how I personally like to really connect to like creative inspiration. But I was meditating, and I was referred back to a blog post that I had written 5 years ago, before I even really, I don't know, it's just like, obviously a lot changes in 5 years, and I was still working my corporate job, and I was just reading about the way that I had felt in that moment. And I think sometimes we can take action steps towards our dreams, and it can feel like nothing's happening. And if you don't have this point of reference, you might actually get stuck believing that nothing is happening. But I was reading this, and I was reading about how like I felt like I hadn't created anything meaningful and worthwhile. I felt like I was successful on paper but felt empty inside. And reading that now as somebody who sometimes looks back and I'm like, your girl walked away from a pretty stable career in the eyes of a lot of people. Like, we're talking multiple six figures to pursue something that is so much more soul fulfilling. And it's funny, somebody said like the meanest thing ever. It was like, I'm saying like Truth and Just, where they were like, oh, well, you used to be bougie. And I'm like, do not put that on me. Like, your girl still loves nice things. That's not what I'm saying. I just was like unwilling to sacrifice this internal sense of fulfillment and purpose. And I'm not like the kind of person who can compartmentalize that and only experience that on my off hours. Like, I just am who I am, and I want every area of my life to flow in and to feel good and to be able to show up authentically. But there have been like, I don't want to call it trade-offs. There's been parts of myself that I've had to face that I otherwise wouldn't have had to had I not made these choices. So that's the way that I really want to frame it, is like, I could have been perfectly fine on the other path, but I don't think that I would be okay with a perfectly fine life. Like, I'm here to actually like show up self-expressed and to create the life that like led me here. And so it can be easy when you're in the middle part of the journey to be like, oh my God, this sucks. I shouldn't have made these choices. I should have like done something else. Like, maybe pouring my heart out doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Like, all the just like mind chatter that isn't even true. It can be so easy to get lost in that when you're in the middle, but you need to like zoom out and A, like honor how far you've come and know that it's enough. But B, you really need to come up with a way to actually like clear those thoughts. Otherwise you can spend your entire life stuck in this place where you just feel like it doesn't matter and you're beating yourself up, and it just takes so much longer to get to where you want to go when you're constantly doing that. And this trip to New York, I feel like a completely different person. Like, I'm on the other side of so many things that I've been struggling with for so long. And there was even this time, like I met up with some friends and we were getting matcha, and there had been this thing that had been like, but it's been like, honestly, some of the experiences that I've been working through have been like the hardest things I've ever faced. And I was like, this is going to be my second book. And I was talking about it from this place of like, I get that this lesson is going to be so valuable in the context of my life. But I got to this place where I was literally bored talking about it, where I'm like, I'm done giving this energy. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to be identified as someone who's going through this. Like, this does not compute. This is no longer the way things are going. And it's not about ignoring it, but it's also deciding like, okay, this gets to be easier. Like, I get to follow this path and I get to like release the struggle, and I don't need to like, that doesn't need to be where the value comes from. You know, I was so like, for so long, the value was like the hustle and the grit and the hard work, and like, and it was just like, we're letting this go. And as soon as I like set that intention, we moved to a new location and everything like released. But it was just through all of these experiences and just trusting that everything like unfolded. My throat, like I can feel like I'm like, I know that I just came on here and like dished it all out, but there's definitely multi-passionate people who are listening and watching this who like can identify. And it's just, I just don't see what the point is if you're not following through on these things that are so like God-given and important. It's like the only way that I can describe it. Like, why would you have these unique, special interests and creative dreams if they weren't meant for you? I think about the people that I work with, like all their dreams are different. Like, there's like people who want to be actresses, people who want to be on stages, people who want to like grow their YouTube channels, people who like want to do things more related to nutrition. And I'm like, the things that we want like are the point. And when you follow those, it starts to expand. And man, because I'm like, sometimes I judge myself for being interested in all these things that seem so separate. And it's like, over time, you'll look back and you'll see it was all related and it's all important. And I'm not saying that every morning I wake up and I'm like, yes, I get to follow my purpose. Let's like write these words out. Like, sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, is it like, what are we doing? But then when I look back and I read that post from 5 years ago about the version of myself who felt empty and like she hadn't felt something created, I feel so proud where I'm like, I will never have to worry about that again. That will never be, like, I look back on my life and I am so proud of what I put out there because I did it for me and I did it to help people. And it doesn't, like, over time, it will always work and it will always pay off. And the biggest lesson that I've been learning lately that I really just want to, like, is it's like, maybe it's not working, but that doesn't mean that but there's always a way that it will work. So that's the work that I help you do. If you ever want to do a session, DM me. I'm now enrolling private clients, and I've just been loving this, like, creative trope. Like, what like makes you feel the most alive, and how do we help you bring more of that into everything you do so that you're not, like, clock watching for when you get to be in your purpose. Like, no, we're here to, like, live as much life as we can. So with that, one of my favorite techniques that I've been using lately to kind of, like, so I want to do a shout out to Kat Kozad, is a creator on here, and she's one of my friends in New York, but she's been doing this thing where she's, like, letting her spirit guides guide her every day for 365 days, which I think is really cool, and she connects through meditation. But one of the things that I like to do personally, like, whenever I need, like, a real life pause button, is to actually, like, just go internal and, like, let the noise separate and then get clear on what needs to happen. It's really hard to, like, understand what the next best step is towards what you're creating when you're, like, constantly taking in feedback. And especially when you're taking in feedback, like, I don't know what to do, like, you're just gonna get more answers and, like, it's gonna be muddled and confusing. And obviously I have a lot of energy and I'm, like, talking with my hands, so whenever I meditate, oftentimes I get answers and I close my eyes. So I want to share this with you because I think this is a really great way to start the week and really great way to connect to like, possibility. I was going to say personality, but yeah, maybe it brings in more of your personality. Maybe somebody's hi. Oh my gosh, perfect. I'm so happy you're both here. Let's do a meditation to have the best week ever. It's going to be to connect to, like, just your deeper self-expression, your passion, your purpose, who you're here to be. This is very, like, purpose path coded. So I invite you to close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out, and just become aware of your body on the chair. Aware of your breath and your life force. I almost never do palms down meditations, but we're going to ground some of this energy. There is some fire coming through. It is Aries season. It is spring. So we're going to put the palms down for a hot second before we put them back up. And just letting go of anything excess that you picked up that's not yours, any judgments, any icky energy. If you have those seasonal allergies, just be like, I'm done with this, goodbye, sayonara, see you later. Send it down, 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 down to the core center of the earth. You can imagine little grounding cords connecting to the core center of the earth. And breathing. Your breath is your connection to your life source energy. Breathing in, breathing out, letting it go. Just kind of letting it go in the dirt. Letting it fertilize your seeds and your intentions, letting go. The earth has more use for the excess energy than you do. And then connecting to the crown of your head, top of your head. This is connection to cosmos, connection to the universe, galaxy, solar system, just that, like, cosmic creative, like, in awe of, like, this is spectacular energy, and inviting this in as you're grounded. You can feel the two energies start to kind of mix in your midsection. Starting to feel your auric field 6 feet out in each direction. You can kind of feel a little shield around you. You can imagine a bubble. You can imagine this in the color of your specific aura. You might notice other energies. Any energies that aren't yours, you send them down, but just starting to feel these energies mixing around. And we're going to call on divine guidance. So if you want to work with spirit guides, you can. Today, I'm going to be working with higher self specifically. So this is the highest version of you. This is your highest possible timeline. You're allowed to take that intention from me if that aligns and feels good to you. And so with this, I want you to call forth and to start to just call to mind. I don't want to say think about, that's a little bit heavier than the energy, but just start to think about, but in a light way, like some of the things that you have going on this week, the way that you want to show up. Start to see yourself, and it's okay if you don't see visually. We're not all like visual energy readers, so maybe this might be a feeling in your body. The way that the most aligned, abundant, expansive, self-expressed version of this week could go for you. And this can be pertaining to your purpose in your career. This can be just pertaining to feeling so fulfilled, joyous, just like alive. Where just every interaction, it feels like you're like touched by magic. And you're just like wearing things that you really love to wear. You're having conversations with people who just fully see you, and they're just like, I'm so happy I got to talk to you today, and you like receive it, and you're just like these synchronicities that are so like ridiculous, where you're like, I have to tell somebody about this, they might not even believe this is so ridiculous, like this is so crazy, but it's not. It makes so much sense. And just see yourself in this energy and start to feel the emotions, and you're like, yeah, this is what I deserve. And just realizing like it just keeps getting better and better. See yourself doing your favorite things, and see yourself with whatever you're working towards. If you have a business, if you create content, seeing yourself, it's just so easy. It's just so fun. It's like you can't stop looking at it because you're like, this is so good. I love this so much. And that octave change in your voice where you're just like, this is it. I feel so good. Breathing that in and asking for guidance. Sometimes this comes through in the form of a symbol, a divine idea, inspiration. And when we're looking for these ideas, it's more like we're looking at a stream of flowing water, more so than like waiting at a friend at a restaurant where you keep like peering over your shoulder. It's like a very ease, like kind of like a soft gaze. So it's not like, I need the answers now. It's kind of like allowing things to flow through. Not getting too attached, and if anything comes through that creates an emotional charge that you don't like, we send the charge down to the earth. We still have that connection. And asking if there's one idea that's going to make the biggest impact in your business. And it might be scary. And this can be your business or your purpose or how you're showing up and like the things that are coming through. It's the one thing you can do that's going to have the biggest impact. And sending any negative emotional charges to this down, down, down. And if you're getting an idea that feels scary, asking for the guidance, asking for the path to reveal itself, realizing that you're always supported. You have the resources you need. And just anchoring this in. We have our part, and then we have the guidance that we receive. And the circumstances that are invisible, that align for things to go perfectly, that we could have never predicted. And seal this energy in with like a warm sun overhead. Sealing it all in. When you feel ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and come back into the room. I feel so much better now that we did that. I feel like my energy is so much more grounded. We love the hot huffing and like, yeah, like we've got this, but it's also good to have the balance and to feel grounded in what we're creating. So, a few things. Number one, spring summer planners are currently here. You can purchase it. There's a link on my bio, my website. They're like front and center. This is the best planner that has ever been in existence at Allison Ziggy. We have updated all of the colors. We have updated all of the fonts. There's an affirmation for every single week. There's a manifestation section. There's a moon calendar. This is what I use for my moon calendars. My friends will ask me, what's the moon? And I'll be like, hold on a second. Let me get out my planner. And I will literally look. And I'm like, this is 100% accurate data. I have spent too much time staring at the moon calendar, but it is accurate. So this is what I personally use. This is like literally comes with me everywhere. So these are available. I am also enrolling private coaching. So if you want to talk, sometimes it's one session, sometimes it's the entire package. When I know what you're working through, I can help you get there so much faster. So let me know. Just send me a DM if you're interested. There's also links all around if you want to set up a call, do all the things. So I make it very easy. Last thing, I do have a quiz on my website to show like what is blocking you, especially if you've been working towards a goal for a while and you keep being like, it's not working. It's not that it's not working. It's that you're blocked. So let's clear the block so that you can take the next best step that is going to finally get you momentum and finally start to reinforce the belief that maybe this could be easier than it ever has been before. So with that, I have another week in New York. I'm so grateful and happy to be here. The things that I've been able to manifest since being here are quite literally incredible and better than I could have ever foresaw. I mean, did you see that I just posted myself with 7 kittens? Like, come on, they were so cute. They were literally the cutest. Oh, we just did a meditation. You'll have to watch. This just ended. But hi, just talking about how amazing New York is. So thank you all so much for being here. Love you so much. This live was like literally on fire. So I'm really excited. Even after, I'm like starting to get my fire energy back after we just did the grounding meditation. I'm like, bring it on. I'm gonna finish writing the next chapter that I'm like almost done with. I do think it's funny that when you start working on things, you find other productive things to procrastinate with, but you know what? Such is life. I love you. Have the best day ever. And this was like one of the best lives. I love it so much. Thank you. Bye.